Hold up your hands, put your thumbs together, bring your index fingers together, look at the shape between them, that's the triangle, hold it up and look at the world through it. That's what this channel is about. I want to start with a question, not a question I'm going to answer today, a question I want you to carry with you. Because everything this channel does for the next year lives inside it. The question is this: what does it take for something to hold together? Not to win, not to succeed, not to be happy or healthy or optimized or thriving, just to remain itself, to still be there, still recognizably the same thing when pressure comes. We have a lot of words for when things don't hold. We say someone fell apart, a relationship broke down, a company collapsed, a community fractured. We say it like we know what it means. But most of the time, we're describing the outcome without understanding the structure. We're pointing at the wreckage without knowing what gave way. This channel is going to change that. Think about something you've watched hold together under pressure. A person you know who went through something that should have ended them and didn't. A friendship that survived a conflict that would have destroyed most friendships. An organization that got hit hard and came out the other side still running. Now think about something that didn't hold. Something that looked like it should have survived and didn't. Something that had resources, had people, had time, and still came apart. What was the difference? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm going to give you a precise answer over the next several months. But right now, I want you to sit with the fact that most of us don't have one. We have stories, we have theories, we have instincts, but we don't have a structural account, a geometry of what persistence actually requires. That's what we're building here. I want to make a distinction that's going to be important for everything that follows. There's a difference between surviving and persisting. Surviving is making it through, getting to the other side. The crisis passes, the pressure lifts, you're still standing. Survival is about outcome. Persisting is different. Persisting means that whatever you were before the pressure arrived, something essential of that is still present after. The thing held together as itself. Not just that it made it through, that it remained something coherent, something with its own internal structure, something you could still recognize. A thing can survive and not persist. It can make it through at the cost of becoming something entirely different, hollow, scattered, sealed off from everything that made it what it was. That's a form of loss that doesn't show up in the survival statistics. And the thing can fail to survive in one form and persist in another. Transition, reorganize, become something new that carries something real from what came before. The question I'm interested in is not whether things survive, it's whether they persist, whether something holds. Now here's what I find remarkable. Everything that persists, every person, every relationship, every organization, every community, every structure at any scale holds together through the same basic architecture. Not the same details, not the same mechanisms, the same structural requirements. There are 3 of them. They're always present in anything that persists. They are never present all at once in anything that has collapsed. And you cannot compensate for the absence of one by having more of another. That last part is the one that takes the longest to absorb. We are very good at the story where someone has enough of one thing to make up for what they're missing in another. Enough willpower, enough talent, enough love, enough money. The story of compensation, it's almost the default story we tell about persistence. It's structurally wrong. The three requirements are non-substitutable. All three simultaneously, or the structure is already failing, whether or not it knows it yet. I'm not going to name them today. We're going to earn them one at a time starting next week. What I want you to take with you today is the shape. Pick up your hands again. Thumbs together, index fingers together. 3 vertices, 3 points that have to be present simultaneously. The moment any one of them lets go, the triangle is gone. You don't have a weaker triangle, you have no triangle. The shape requires all three. And look at what the hands can do. The triangle isn't rigid. It can shift, it can tilt, it can span, it can compress. The hands carry tension. One side can be under pressure more than the other. The whole thing can lean. That's persistence under strain. The shape held, even if it's not perfectly centered, even if it costs something to maintain. Now, gently let your index fingers drift apart. The top of the triangle opens. The frame is gone. You still have 2 hands, but you don't have a triangle anymore. That's one way that something can stop holding together. Bring them back. Now let your thumb drift apart. The bottom opens. The connection across the base fails. The top might still be touching, but what's holding the whole thing is in relation is gone. That's a different way. Bring them back. Now everything can collapse inward, fingers falling to the thumbs, the whole shape folding. That's the third. 3 vertices, 3 ways the frame can fail, and the world visible through the center when it holds. We're going to spend a year walking that geometry through everything that matters. People, relationships, organizations, communities, and then further out than that. Every domain, same structure, not as metaphor, as the thing itself. Before I close, I want to say something about why this question matters beyond the intellectual interest of having a precise answer to it. Most of us have experienced something not holding. Some of us have experienced it in ways that were devastating. A person we loved, a structure we depended on, a version of ourselves we couldn't keep together under conditions that shouldn't have been survivable. And most of us in those moments told ourselves some version of a story about failure, about what was weak or wrong or not enough. What this framework offers is not a story about failure. It's a structural account of what was under load and what gave way and why. That's a very different thing. Failure implies a verdict. Structural analysis implies a diagnosis. You can work with a diagnosis in a way you can't work with a verdict. Understanding the geometry of what holds things together doesn't make losses smaller, but it makes them legible. And legibility is where every next move starts. Next week, we're going to start building the framework from the ground up, not by defining terms, but by arriving at 3 problems, 3 kinds of failures that anything that persists has to solve. All at once, with no substitutions. You'll recognize them. They're already running in your life. Until then, hold up your hands, make the triangle, look through it, see what you notice. Everything that holds together does it the same way. Here's how. The Triangle in Everything. New episodes weekly.